All right, good morning, everyone. Welcome to day number 11 for 4040. My name is Michael Demond, and I'll be coaching you over the next 10 days about positioning. A lot of the things that we'll talk about in this section are going to tie together what you've done in purpose in our first 10 days and also set you up for the next P to follow. So we designed this program in order for the whole thing to be able to, by the end, give you everything that you need to be able to start strong in building your business. Regardless of what industry you're in, you're going to get things that are going to be beneficial to you as an entrepreneur, as a business owner, just personal development. There's a whole lot that comes out of this, which many of you have either experienced already in previous 4040s or you already experienced in your first 10 days here with us. So today we're going to talk about what positioning is. I want to make sure that we start with a good foundation, that everyone understands what it means when I talk about that. Positioning shows up in a lot of different ways. In the purpose section, positioning that I heard was when Carmen told us the story about um, being positioned in a network marketing industry, how Planet is positioned within that industry, and how previous companies that have been around for decades had saw tremendous growth at a certain point. And if you have doing the work and achieving directorship and building your business, you're going to benefit from being positioned early on within that company as the company continues to grow. So that's one way to look at the framing of positioning when it comes to the Planet company. But I'm going to be talking a lot about positioning on your individual level. How do you, as an individual, position yourself for people to know who you are, to find you, to want to collaborate with you, and to want to do business with you ultimately? So we're going to be talking about positioning in that way. So let's start out just by talking a little bit about you as the individual. And I want to kind of hear from a couple of people who have been in a position and journey. I know some of you have been working in 4040 before. I want to get some feedback from people. Like when you think about positioning and you think about where you are as far as how strong you feel that in your positioning, how do you feel about that? Do you feel like you're doing a good job and that you're pretty clear on who you serve, how you serve, and people can find you? Or do you feel like there's something in the way? There's something that you're struggling with? Let's kind of take the temperature of the room. And if I can call on a couple of people who I know for sure have been through this a couple times and hear from some of you. So, Tracy, I see you nodding your head. I'm going to start with you. If you can talk to me a little bit about positioning from your experience and what you are going through, how you feel about it.
Okay, good morning, everyone. For me, positioning is putting myself in a place to win, so that I can find people that and attract the people that are like me, but also putting myself out there so I can be seen. I'm becoming more comfortable with that. And I know in the beginning of my journey with you and Carmen, you guys saw so much more in me than I actually saw for myself at the time. And you encouraged me to do things that I hadn't done before. One of the things was going live. And believe it or not, my undergrad degree, I'm a retired educator, but my undergrad degree is in mass media communications. So most people would think that I would be comfortable being in front of the camera and doing all the things. And actually, I wasn't. Um, and going live has challenged me to get more comfortable doing that. And so even though I don't have all the traction yet that I want, I get on that camera now and I talk like I got the traction. And I know and I tell people, comment in the replay that it's a replay, but you're going to hear me. And so I have more confidence. I'm being more consistent. I didn't go live yesterday because I'm still waiting to get my hair fixed up and look cute again. But um, positioning for me is important. Image is important. My brand is important. I'm starting to think about myself as a brand. What do I want people to associate with my name? And so that's important to me, and I'm putting my efforts in that. I'm going to be a director. I don't know how many stars yet. Mr. Bradley may still have to add a few more, but I know that I have to be in a place where I'm ready to receive that and to achieve that. And it's going to take me on this journey of making sure I'm in the right place at the right time, connecting with the right people.
Oh, I love that. You said so many things that are just so spot on. And congratulations to you for traveling that journey and not being afraid following the advice, even though it made you uncomfortable. You showed so much growth in the time that I was originally introduced to you when I was with Carmen and we would record you for a spotlight interview. And to see you now talking the way that you speak, all of it has just been such a, to me, just been huge. I'm just like, I can't even believe it's the same person. But I'm loving your confidence. I love the fact that you have decided what it is you want to achieve and that you are going to do the things that are necessary to get there. So continue that. That is lovely. And that is attraction. That attracts people too. Sharing that journey and being on that journey, inviting people to do that with you. So that's good. Thank you. Director D.F. Russell, let's hear from you.
Good morning, sir. Good morning, everyone. You know how they say it takes 7 times to see something before it really kind of sinks in? That's kind of how I feel about positioning. Like I couldn't wait again to go through this 10 days with you because I it was the last 40/40 where the light bulb clicked on with TikTok and just the challenge of I thought it was just way too busy. Now I actually love it and I saw the benefit, but I have got to master that YouTube. And Carmen has been challenging us for the longest. You've been working with her. I've been listening to her, but I still feel like that's a huge portion. That's like a gap for me, I think. As much as I love going live, as often as I go live, it's still not nearly hitting the reach that I know I should be hitting. And it's because I'm not positioned properly on new social media platforms. And so I want to get that down. When I watch the lifestyle posts that the UK women put out there, and I'm like, they're not doing anything differently than what we do, but they're on some other platform that's getting them way more reach than I have, And so I'm just trying to figure that out. And that's my hopes in these 10 days is to master that and get it down pat.
Love that. Okay, thank you for sharing that. And thank
Mhm.
you for pointing out to the platform specific goal that you have. I know right now there's a lot of talk in the news about TikTok. Nobody knows what in the world is going to happen with it. But it definitely was one of those platforms that you can grow and scale pretty fast because of the way that their algorithms are set up to get you some reach. And I think that's one of the things that makes a lot of these other platforms very jealous of TikTok and wanting to see them fail or to be able to break it apart and get their hands on some of those pieces of it. So we're going to talk today about platform. I should say in the next 10 days, we're going to talk about some of the platform specific things. And I know that Carmen is also working on YouTube. To hear that you're working on YouTube, a lot of people have a desire to grow on YouTube. So we can even kind of do some focusing on that too during these 10 days.
Thanks, Mike.
Yeah. All right. Anyone else? Anyone else have a contribution to what they're struggling with, challenged with, anything that about positioning that is not clear to you? I'm going to explain a lot of it, but I just want to make sure we put some of these things on the table so people can hear and see themselves in some of the words being described.
So for me, when I remember when I did the original boot camp with Director Russell, and she said that we were going to have to do power hours and we were going to have to go live for 15 minutes, and I was just like frozen like a deer in the headlights because I was like, oh my gosh, I had never gone live before and I was really afraid to do it. But during the time that I was preparing to retire in 2023, I actually started posting on a regular basis. And I was getting so many views just on talking about, retiring. And so I would be on the metro going downtown and I was posting on the days that I was in the office. I would post, and then one day I was at the shredder and I was sitting in the chair shredding, and I was taking a picture of myself shredding, like getting rid of that stuff before I walk out the door. And then I was at my desk swirling around in my chair, and it was like the dumb stuff, and it was like attracting people. So what I'm learning is that people just want to see your life. They're not, it doesn't have to be anything dramatic, but I didn't post yesterday either. I posted a still shot of the snow and everything, but not a live piece. But it is, I do see the benefit. And I would too like to do the YouTube version. I do have some ideas about, segments that I want to do on
Okay.
YouTube and to attract more audience. And
Okay.
I have not watched any of the UK ladies. So, DF, if you could just tell me where I can find that so I can see it. I would love to know what they're doing and try to mimic some of the things that they're doing so that I can add more attraction. So
Okay, thank you
thank
for
you.
sharing. Yeah, you're welcome. So you actually touched on some things, Denise, that I think is very important for everyone here on this call to realize. You'll notice that she said, I was doing silly stuff. I'm spinning in my chair. I'm shredding papers. I'm talking about how excited I am about retiring. I want y'all to pause for a minute and think about why would those things hold people's attention, get people's attention? Why do you think she got so much traction on the things that to her were just so frivolous? Let me hear from somebody either in the comments or the chat. Why do you think that is? And then I'll share some thoughts on that. And a lot of this is going to go into like why positioning is important. Okay, Carmen, let me hear from you.
Yes, a couple of things. Is one, it was authentic to her. She came with not rehearsed excitement, the real excitement. There's something she was excited about. And plus, anybody that was in the thick of working, it gave them something to be inspired by, or somebody that maybe see themselves in eventually in that retirement phase.
Exactly. So let me recap that for you. Being relatable. The situation was relatable. Carmen shared that it was relatable to people. Maybe they were in their job, maybe they're near retiring, they're dreaming about the day that they can do that. That is important. That doesn't take a lot. That just takes you being authentic and being yourself and sharing some of those moments that you feel comfortable sharing publicly. Okay. Tracy says, because most people are living lives they are ready to escape from. Escapism is real. Oftentimes people are going on YouTube and these different platforms to kind of get away from the doldrums of the things that don't inspire them in their life. And there are things that you might be doing on a regular basis, myself included, that I take for granted, that I don't think about. I'm like, well, I'm not going to just be sitting here at my desk on YouTube doing what? Like, what do they want to see? What do they want to know? But I think about how Coach Carmen and I are texting multiple times throughout the day. That's an episode. If we were even just to go through our text messages and make some content talking about some of these things. So the things that I want you to know about positioning and why it's important is number one, it builds trust and credibility. It's going to allow people to see, some real elements of you, things that they can connect and relate to. It's going to get them to trust you and to want to go to the next step, to learn a little bit more about you and rather partner with you, collaborate with you, whatever that looks like in that way of doing business with you. It's going to establish the trust that they need to do the next step. The other thing is going to help you do by showing up authentically as yourself is going to attract the people that are best for you. We talked about alignment in the last phase and talked about how finding the people who have the same energy and the same drive, and if not the same, but at least complementary to the way that you operate and what you do, how important that was. So positioning is going to support all of that. The other thing that you want to keep in mind with positioning is once you start getting that attention and people start expressing interest in getting to know you and connecting with you, we're going to talk about this when we get towards the end of the 10 days, is giving them a place to go. You don't want to have all this interest and buzz generating, and now you don't have anywhere to take them to do that next level of connection. Dia Frussel, let's hear from you. I see your hand up.
Yeah, I'm transitioning a little bit out the house for a minute, but I had to get on and say this, Mike. Thank you for stressing that. And I really, really want people to catch it and understand the power of being steadfast and unmovable, for lack of a better phrase, right? And I'll tell you why it's so important. I know we throw posture out there and sometimes it just kind of goes over people's heads. It's so true to have strong posture. We got off of a call this week. It might have been after 40/40. It was after a great IMV, a great 40/40. And then I got a text message. Now, when you all get text messages from people from after you post something and they say, oh, it's so inspiring. Thank you so much. So I got one where it started off that way from a lady who's older than me at my former church. And she said, hey, love, I just want you to know, I appreciate how inspiring you are, but just remember, tooting your own horn is not something, right, AJ? I said, and I, out of respect, I had to go back and read it a couple times before I responded, but then I said, LOL, quote unquote, tooting my own horn. What are you referring to? And I think I had just put out the post that says something about everybody, don't be frustrated when the people at home don't partner with you or something like that. I said I have people in 27 states. Then I said you're welcome. Right? Like it was almost an encouraging post, I thought, to people, right? And so she said, well, it's just, being your own cheerleader, like that's okay, but you've got to remember we have to acknowledge ourselves from within. I said, acknowledge ourselves from within. Like you're not, and then when I heard be your own cheerleader and how many times we've been taught to be your own cheerleader when people try to tear you down. Right away, I said, she's not sitting around winners, definitely. So when you are around champions, this is champion talk. So thank you, Mike, for the reminder about like who we are and putting it out there. But you all just be careful because like you got it, this is your armor. I'm sorry, this is your armor. Because after we get off, somebody's gonna say, you don't need to be out here live every 5 minutes or whatever. And I just tell people, just keep scrolling. You already know I'm going to talk about 30 minutes. Just keep scrolling. I'm not talking to you then. I'm talking to the person who wants to hear it. So again, Mike, for time's sake, I'm so sorry. But I just wanted to put that because it's going to happen. And if you're not armored up, it'll knock you right off yours. As strong as I am, that almost knocked me out my chair. Like, ooh. Oh, you almost got me, lady. You almost got me, but she didn't. Thanks,
That's
Mike.
good. You're welcome. And you highlighted some really key points. This is why 4040, the IMV calls, like you have to strengthen up because that attraction goes two ways. It's going to attract the people that you want to partner with, and it's going to repel, it's going to attract the people you don't want to have nothing to do with. So there's two sides of that, and you want to be prepared for that. So surrounding yourself with winners, as a director said, is key because that's going to build up the armor that you need. Anytime you're doing something public like that, it's going to attract attention and it's not always going to be the attention that you want, but you can't let that stop you from doing what you need to do to accomplish the things you want to accomplish. Tracy, I see we got your hand up.
Yes, you know what? I just want to piggyback off what Director Denise said, because my grandmother used to say that all the time, and that's that mindset of that generation. But at the same time, my grandmother lived during the Depression. She lived through the Civil Rights Movement, telling me stories about what they had to do to get the right to vote and demanding a place at the table. You can't demand a place at the table if you don't know who you are and that you have a right to be there. So that I grew up hearing that. And so sometimes that made me kind of shrink down. But she also would tell me, remember who you are and remember whose you are. So I I I respect that that's kind of what that generation said, but it's also like a double message. You know, they say that, but they don't always mean that.
Yeah, yeah,
So, yep. So I just wanted to share that and put that out there. So if anybody else get that kind of message, ignore it.
yes. And you also keep in mind too, everybody ain't doing the work that we're doing. There's a lot of personal development and growth required to do this business well, to do any business well, honestly. And you have to keep in mind that a majority of people aren't focused on how do I improve myself today? They're coming from a wounded place. They've been conditioned to have limiting beliefs, which is stopping them from really living their best life. Like there's a whole lot of stuff that people are dealing with. And that's why you really want to make sure that you're not taking this stuff that you're getting from people, the negative feedback and all that to heart, because everybody ain't doing the work. We're doing the work, we're going through the process and everybody has their journey. You cannot let the limiting beliefs of others stop you from doing the things that you need to do. Alan, I see your hand up. You want to go ahead?
Yes, sir. I want to give a shout out to everyone, especially you and Director Carmen. We're always told don't miss anything that you're qualified to attend. We're always told, to stay plugged in, to go to the meetings. And I had someone text me about a Zoom call about a presentation and said, well, it's the same one that goes on every week. And I said, but I get on because I may hear something different or something may click. I just want to say being on this 40/40 is what I needed at this point in my life and business career. I've been on 40/40s. I've seen information, we read the books, but this one here is resonating with my soul and clicking with a lot of things that is going to propel me and my business to greater heights. Just the calls, the conversation, the call to action and doing stuff that I've never wanted to do. Like I'm one who is very, very private. I'll jump on Facebook or social media every now and then. I'll post something every now and then, but having to go live, now I'm more comfortable with just going forth and sharing glimpse of what my life is. I've heard it said on this calling before that you have to get out to show your lifestyle. For me, I'm like a closed book. You'll see me in public, I'll serve, I'll say hi. But as far as telling people about my life, I don't like doing that. But having this heart attack and my open heart surgery, it, it's changed me in so many different ways. Where now I have no shame. I still have a filter because we say as people get older, they lose their filters. But I lost the shame. Like before, I would not walk around with my shirt off. So now, especially now having a scar, inverted T down my chest, across my stomach, down my arm, but I walk around proudly because when I look at it not as a scar, but as a reminder that it's my covenant with God that He left me here to do greater things. And getting on this call with each and every one of you is showing me more that I had to focus more on my purpose to get out and show my life because there's people out there whose blessings are tied to me. So I just want to say thank you and Director Carmen, Director Denise, and everyone on this call because the comments, the conversation is propelling me to do more what I know I need to do. So I just want to say thank each and every one of you.
You're very welcome, and I appreciate you for sharing that. I've known you for years, and this is the most words I ever heard you speak after all this time. So thank you for for doing that, and for to be able to see that and to know that that's impacting you in that way. We're
You're
happy
welcome.
that you're here and that you're sharing with us, and that this is coming through with you in that way. So that's what I'm talking about, like this kind of environment to do this work as an entrepreneur. A lot of times we're doing this stuff solo. The business alone is very difficult to do. You add on top of that trying to do it alone. You add on top of that the fact that you're surrounded by people who don't see any reason why you're going through all this. Why don't you just go get a job? Why don't you do this? Why don't you do that? Like there's so many things that can really deter you from continuing on. But I promise you, as you work through these things will grow you. They will open up doors that you have never even imagined were possible. So many things are going to come from it. So I'm glad that everybody here is going through this process and that we're going through it together and that we're able to share how this is impacting us. You heard Alan say he's been through this many times, but for some reason, this one has a whole different meaning. You hear things differently as you grow through all these different stages. And that's the important part of just showing up because you never know what you're going to get out of that. So thanks again, Alan, for that. So I know we have about 4 minutes left, and I just want to close today with three things that I want you to spend some time thinking about. And then tomorrow we're going to move into the next phase. So what is positioning? What does it look like? How do I get to the point where I can be confident in the way that I position myself and how I speak about myself? And I'm going to give you three things that you want to focus on so you can write these down. One of the first things is clarity. It's going to be really important for you to be clear about what it is that you offer or have to offer and be clear about to whom. Okay. So let me give you an example of that. I have been in business through my marketing agency for a very long time, doing a lot of different things for a lot of different clients, just because of demand. People ask, I learn, I do. And all my offers have built up over time. But this year, I'm kind of like, okay, I can do all these things, but I'm kind of tired of swimming in muddy water. Not to say that I'm not going to do the things that God has prepared me to do. I'm still going to do them, but I'm just presenting myself in a different way. I'm positioning myself in a different way. So the conversations for me this year is me as a coach, as Michael Demond, my focus is to help people get to their first 100K. In that goal of helping people get to their first 100K in their business, I can still use all the things that I've learned over the years and do the web design, the graphic design, or, with my team and with the designers, like I can still facilitate that process. But I really want to see some transitions this year and really narrow down and focus on what people need to do to get to their first 100K. So you're going to hear me a lot this year talking about coaching and consulting people to get to their first 100K. Because when you do that, that really opens so many different doors. And I know that what you had to do and learn to get to that point is going to set you up for that next part. It don't matter what industry you're in, but it's going to work. It's going to be a system that people can follow. So, my messaging is going to be a little bit different than what it has been in the past because I'm clear about number one, who I want to work with and what I want to help them do. Okay. So clarity, think about your clarity. The next thing is differentiation. And I don't want you to complicate this. Differentiation is basically like, how are you different from the other person might be doing the same thing that you're doing? To me, the easiest way for you to differentiate yourselves from others is to lean into your story. Because I don't care how many people in this room have a travel agency business or is building a team. We all doing the same thing. But the things that have happened in your life that you have gone through or are going through or have learned to do this are going to be the things that's different for you. It does not matter that there are 100 different people who have my skill set in this city. What's going to matter is who do I resonate with and who, when I interact with them or they see me online, who's going to be that person that said, oh, that's the person for me because he's speaking my language and I get him. Okay. It's powerful. I hired a graphic designer simply off one YouTube video. I went on YouTube looking up how to do something, saw her work, and I'm like, let me see if I can hire her. Best decision that I made. But why? Because I heard her speaking. I can listen to her, what she was saying, and know that she would understand. I reached out, had a call with her. We had synergy. Everything was just perfectly aligned. But would that have happened if she was not positioned for me to find her? That's why this is important. Okay. And the last part of the positioning element, then I'm going to open up the mic for Carmen to close us out. Relevance. How relevant is what it is that you're talking about? What is it that you're talking about? How relevant is it to the people that are listening? So Denise said earlier about retiring and making the video, spinning in the chair, doing the countdown. Like I love all that, but that is relevant to somebody. That's either relevant to somebody who can relate because they're there, is relevant to somebody who's like, I can't wait till I get there, or relevant to somebody who is just like, I was there. Like you have all these different people in different phases that your personal life story can be relevant to. And the more you can lean into those, the more you can get these three elements of positioning to work for you. Okay.